Have you ever been terrified of public speaking? A Gallup poll confirmed that the greatest fear of 40% of Americans is public speaking. So if this is you, you are going to want to be here today for our incredible conversation on the Max Potential Habits podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Dr. Amanda Barrientes. I'm the host of this podcast. And this is your place where you're going to learn tips, tools, and hear inspirational stories from incredible people, and we're here to help you optimize your habits so you can lead a thriving life and business. And today I have on a friend that I met. Actually, we live in the Boulder, Colorado area, and I met her at a networking event, and right away I was drawn to her because her 30-second commercial was so kick-ass. And I was like, I gotta talk to this woman. And it turns out that she is a speaker and she helps people learn how to be better at speaking, which the more research I do on speaking, the more that I come to see that if you struggle in this area, it's going to limit you in life, business. You know, there's so many areas where we end up having to speak. And if you struggle here, it's going to feel scary and hard. So let me introduce Margaret, and we're going to have a great conversation about public speaking. Margaret keynotes, coaches speaker leaders, leads workshops across the U.S., and is a perpetual student. She is well known for coaching over 100 TEDx speakers nationally and internationally. Margaret has supported over 1,000 performers and performances in her career. She loves helping people transform to project strong leadership and seeing the impact that new confidence has on their audiences. She has supported entrepreneurs preparing investment pitches, individuals create their signature talk, and curated many TEDx events. Margaret has been nicknamed the Benevolent Pusher for her uncanny ability to be supportive, directive, and entertaining as she leads communication workshops and coaches individual speakers. She says speakership is leadership and is passionate about helping people lead with their communications. So let's welcome on Margaret, the CEO of MasterSpeaker Lab.
Thank you, Amanda. It is so fun to be here with you. That was such a nice intro. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. I've been really looking forward to this one. A topic that comes up all the time. And, you know, I don't know if I ever shared with you, but I used to be terrified of public speaking. In my classes, I would like turn red and sweat, and my heart would be racing so hard that I would be like, I swear they can see my heart beating out of my chest right now.
I have totally been there too. I've been on the stage and just absolutely forgotten everything that was going on. Hot, sweat, cold, fear, lead balloon in the stomach, left in shame. I've been there too.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's not fun. But you know, I want to know before we get into your history, what do you think develops people as a public speaker? Because I could see my own experiences, but I'm curious what you would say about that.
I love that thought. I know some people who have learned to speak and really connect with their audience purely by learning how to swim in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
It was part of their job. They just had to go do it. And by trial and error, trial by fire, crashing and burning, getting up again, they learned how to listen to their audience. They learned how to stay connected. They learned how to tell a story. They learned how to slow down. So I think that is how some people get there. I think there's some people who just naturally, I think we all know those people who just need to be in front with a microphone now, you know?
Yeah.
Some people, it is just, something they have ached for since the time they were little. That is not me. My mom was into theater and I was in lots of plays when I was little, but it was because it was a family thing, not because I ever just needed it. So I think some people are just super natural at that.
Yeah.
But then there's those who study it, and I think great speaking is like great marketing, great communicating anywhere, really understanding who is my audience. What do I want to give them?
Yeah.
How can I connect with them more deeply right now? And how can I tell my story in a way that is slow enough and detailed enough so that they really leave with a new thought form in their head of the idea that I'm sharing.
Oh, I love this. For all of you listening, I really think it benefits you to get out a paper and pencil. I'm already writing a whole bunch of notes. I love this idea. Okay, so before we get into that, how the heck did you get into public speaking and coaching on how to be powerful public speakers?
It was actually a total surprise to me. My undergrad degree in my childhood was spent as I was a cellist. And so and actually as a teenager, I hated performing. That cold lead balloon in your stomach, like that was there for me all the time. The cold sweat, the forgetting. But I guess I had enough talent to earn a scholarship for college. And so my undergrad degree was in music performance. And then these painful performances went on and on. I did love the music part though. So when I graduated, I decided to teach. And I spent years with these beautiful master teachers who taught me how to really connect with my student, how to really keep a vision in my mind of where I wanted them to be in the future, and how I shaped my words in the moment down to the smallest concept they could absolutely get right now. And so it was so focused on the student. And I loved that process, and I loved my students, and I loved the music. And then one day when I was in my early 20s, I was in a community that I just adored. And they said to me, "Would you please play cello for us at Christmas time? Please, 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 please." And I said, "Oh, right." But this time it was different, because as I was preparing, I wasn't thinking, what am I going to do wrong? What am I going to do wrong? I just thought about how much I loved them. And I thought about the gift I wanted to give them, about how much I loved this piece by Bach, and that I wanted them to understand this piece by Bach. And I played, and it was transcendent. It just melted us all. And I felt like I was such a conduit, just connecting the audience to what I wanted to share with them. So lots of cello for lots of years. And then I realized I wanted kind of more in the world. And I branched out and started volunteering with TEDx events. This was about 6 years ago. And somebody said to me, "Hey, we need somebody to work with the speakers, and you've been on the stage a lot. So how about you work with the speakers?" I was like, "Oh, okay." And as I started working with the speakers, for one thing, it came really easily to me, because I knew how much preparation they needed. I knew how to practice. I knew how to hold yourself on the stage and have that presence, have that confidence. And I knew how to do the same lessons I'd learned from teaching. How do you connect with your audience? How do you keep a future vision of where you want to lead them by the end? And how do you take your ideas into small enough bites right now that the audience can absolutely understand all of them?
Love
So
this.
it was a beautiful experience. And people were like, "So how long have you been doing this?" I was like, "Well, we've been here about 15 minutes. So
That's so great.
Yeah. So then I went and worked I kind of beefed up my credentials with working on a master's in strategic communication. And and then have been coaching my business ever since. And now it's built up to MasterSpeaker Lab.
That's so incredible. I love this. I love the words that you're using. I can tell you're a speaker because you're very careful and strategic with your words, and yet they just slip out like butter. It's like you said present, preparation, and holding yourself, and leadership. And then, something I'm really visualizing as you're speaking is you're talking about that future vision of where you're taking your audience next.
Yes.
In small bites.
Yes.
And I love that idea. It's like it's almost, what came to my mind was you're leaving these little morsels along the path, and they're following you along until you get to the, the climax point or whatever.
Oh, right. Hero. Here's your powers. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I love that process.
So tell us, so something that I'm really appreciating as well is you talking about strategic communication and really focusing your attention on the audience. And that was why you noticed, when you were doing it for you said it was for your family. when you
Yeah,
were
it was
playing the Bach piece?
the Bach piece. It was sort of a chosen family. It was,
Okay.
we were all a community together of moms who brought each other dinners when we had babies, and
Okay.
yeah, shared
Okay. And I
clothes.
love this because my brain's thinking about the relationship to that with selling something. It's like when you
Mm,
sell something to someone and it's because you care about it, you don't
yes,
have that barrier of like feeling like, oh, there's all this pressure. You just go, oh, I've got to share this thing with you because it's so incredible and I want you to
right,
hear it or see it or feel it or experience it.
exactly.
And I love that idea. So can you tell us a little bit about that when you're helping people speak to their audience? How do you get them to connect with their audience so that they have that place of feeling like they're caring and connecting versus selling and performing?
Right, right, right. So, because that's a really important thing for so many business owners is to be able to get up and speak. And yeah, the audience, we get turned off immediately if we feel like it's all just for their gain.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I like to think through with my speakers is really the kind of being the hero's, it's the hero's journey, and the audience is the hero. The audience has a destination to reach. The audience is going to be the one you're going to call to action. The audience is the one who's going to go through trials, and you're going to support them through it. You're going to give them the map because you know this beautiful new world that they can get to by the end when they hear your idea, when they hear your stories, when they hear the examples. And so to give an example how to prepare for this, how to do this, a minute ago you said you could tell that I was a speaker because words were coming out easily, and the truth is I am a terrible extemporaneous speaker. But I'm a good preparer. And so so I've thought through these words, I've thought through these stories, and I've spent time on my own or with other people, seeing what works, seeing what phrases I want to use, what stories I want to tell. And so that's what I would really encourage people to do, is really prepare. I have one of my speaking clients, she and I have been working together for a few months, and she was presenting in front of one of my groups. And it's kind of like a dress rehearsal because she was about to get on a plane and go present in front of this conference of her colleagues. And when she gave this final dress rehearsal to us in the group, some of the people who hadn't seen it for a few weeks, they're like, it's just so easy. It's so natural from you.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like you're just talking to me. It doesn't feel like you've done this, robotic homework thing. And really, that's the magic that happens when you've deeply, deeply, deeply prepared. Is you can let go of the stress of what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And you can relax into, I'm here with you people. People, people, people. That's what Brene Brown says every time before she speaks. And we can just focus on that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So will you share what's coming to mind for me that I think that my tribe will want to hear is what does that practically look like? How do you prepare for a talk that you're giving?
Oh, that's a great question. And I actually just this morning, just a few hours ago, I gave a presentation on this. I'd be happy to share with the slides with you to share in the notes. If anybody wants to link into these, because it's pretty self-explanatory from the notes. But the first thing to do is what we've already talked about. What is your end goal? This is what you do in perpetual. This is not the first thing you say in the talk. This is what you do first. What's the gift you want to give the audience? What do you want their end state to be?
Mm.
The second is you decide how you're going to get on the same page as the audience. What's going on right now? And have them understand their current state right now. And really, what we want to do is draw a difference between those two. The future state, if you think of that as paradise, is where we're getting to, then the current state, we need to show them why, if you stay here, it is the end of the world. It's not, we have to, this is the current state, okay, and you have to move. So you feel that conflict. The third section that you write is then how they make that transition from one to the next.
Okay. So the roadmap that you're providing for them.
Exactly. And so you show them, the moment, that moment of transition, and you give examples underneath, or tell them stories, and you tell them what trials they might find along the way, and you give examples and stories. The last thing that you can put in is, I call the sandwich. And that is, there's something very satisfying to human brains when we hear something in the beginning of a talk and it's echoed back at the end. So these are the two bread parts of the sandwich. So let me rewind a little bit. The very first thing you did is think about where you want the audience to go. But actually, when you are presenting the talk, the first thing you say is the end of the world. Here's where we are right now. Here's what the situation. Like a minute ago, when I told the story of when I had I started with a terrible performance and lead balloon in my stomach. That was the old. That was then. And then there was the Bach and the transcendent performance. That is now. Here we are in paradise. And so if we were to go on, I would tell you how I made that transition. And then I would go on and finish the talk and talk about how, now when I get up to perform, that lead balloon no longer is in my stomach, but it's something else. So there's something echoing the beginning and the end.
Yeah, I love that.
So
I love the resonance. What's coming up is the storytelling process. It's like, even if you're giving practical information, it's this story that you're taking people along from beginning to end. And you interwove such, language that had me visualizing what you were talking about. And it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's in fact, it's kind of the only way people are going to remember. Like Maya Angelou said it, people forget what you did, they forget what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel. And stories make us feel.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And if a speaker, I'm sorry to interrupt, I have one little thing to say about that. And if a speaker does have content they really need the audience to remember, if there's something that they're training, if there's something that's urgent, then there's a whole other set of speaking principles that I'm developing in a course that are based on neurology and neurological retention rates. And so that's, we can save that for another day, but how to train, how to shape your presentations and your trainings so that you can really increase your audience's retention and have them go away with more than the good feeling from your great stories.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Yeah. So people can be looking for that on your website,
right?
Okay, good. Well, I'll get that from you, and I'll include everything in the show notes for everyone listening. I want to ask you about that a little bit. When you're speaking, I'm thinking of so many ways to connect it to what I'm doing, and my audience is business builders. And, I'm thinking from minute one, you're public speaking in your business. It's like, how do you shape your story? How do you tell your story?
Exactly.
What social media platform do you use? And how do you use speaking to develop rapport with your tribe, with your community? How do then when you get asked to speak, or even when you're doing a 1-minute video, all of these things matter, and it's taken me, I still crack up when I look at my first videos, and it's been such an interesting evolutionary process to just wing it and say, okay, screw perfection. It's not going to be perfect. I'm just going to get it out there. And I
have to take that step.
The time. What would you say to people listening who are like, okay, maybe we don't have a TEDx talk yet, but we want to do a 1-minute video? What's a quick, simple, do you have any quick, simple tips for helping people be more comfortable in the moment just to get started?
Well, we've talked about how to shape it, and we've talked about how for people to want to visualize their audience, but let's go into some concrete physical things right before you press go on the camera.
Ooh, awesome.
What you can do physically. And so as you're performing, I don't know about you, but I get nervous even just making videos. There's nobody in the room but me, but I know that camera, is going to go out to possibly hundreds and thousands of people. So your body does go through a wave of energy before you perform. Just like an athlete, just like the fight or flight response, before we act, our body does get excited, some people call that nervous, some people call that fear, some people call this I would rather die.
Yep.
And so we need a place to put that energy. And so this is a podcast, so people can't see me, but you shake before the camera goes on, shake it all out, dance it out, move your hips, move your eyes. When your eyes are moving side to side, then your body knows that you're not hunting and you're not being hunted. So like move, shake it, move it out. Take some deep, because it stimulates your circulation system. You'll have better, better color in your cheeks, and you'll be more connected.
I love that idea. That's great. I hadn't thought before of the eyes, and I didn't know that. So looking around, it's like, it's the opposite of survival, where you're hyper focused on one topic or thing.
Right.
That's interesting.
Right.
Okay. So move your body. And so for all of you listening, I'm getting to see Margaret over there moving around and dancing in her chair. Okay. So awesome. So they're moving around,
moving around. And then the next is to kind of bring it back to center, then do the thing you've been told 100,000 times, deep breath in and deep breath out. And what this does is that balances your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight or freeze response. Parasympathetic is the opposite, rest and digest. And when you inhale, you can feel it. If you inhale and hold your breath a little bit, you can feel it slightly stimulating. There's just a little bit more live action to it. And then when you exhale, there's releasing and relaxing. So by taking those deep, slow breaths in and out, you are stimulating both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Okay, guys, we got you both on board. We're fine. We're ready to move ahead. And you're back in your body. You're aware of your sensations. So you can be connected to your own self. You're connected to your core, to your power, so that you can give that energy then to your audience, whether you're on the stage or in front of that super scary camera.
I love this. That's great. And then when you step in, what do you recommend for an introduction? I've heard different things. I read a really cool article the other day about introductions, and I actually might have been from you. I'm not sure.
Oh,
But I want to hear what you have to say. And, because I think I've noticed that if the introduction feels powerful and connected, it leads the rest of the conversation.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for an introduction of yourself or of the content?
Well, there will be exceptions to this, but in general, my rule is the audience doesn't actually care about me. The audience cares about them. And all of us as the audience, we care about us. And so when I, as a speaker, go out on that stage, I want to connect to that audience, first of all. So I don't actually talk about myself. They can go look up my bio. They can look up LinkedIn, or hopefully if I'm speaking, then somebody else has said nice things about me beforehand. So when I'm out there, I start right telling a story. I start right with an experience, because if I get us laughing, if I get us feeling, if I get you visualizing a story I'm telling, then our brains are having a similar pattern wavelength already. I am creating a shape in your brain that matches my brain, and then we're more connected for the rest of the time. And so that's my rule of thumb for starting out, is somehow create a shared experience with your words.
That's awesome. Okay. And would you say, I'm visualizing the difference between maybe a public speaking and doing something on camera, but to me, it would be similar.
I think it would be. Like I said, I'm sure there are exceptions.
Yeah.
Especially on camera, how many seconds do you have before people are flitting away?
Yeah.
Like 3, 10 if you're lucky. Yeah. So starting right there from the beginning, like, hey, let me tell you a story. And there I was, standing on the stage, wearing all black, white hot lights in my eyes, but I knew beyond them in the audience were parents, teachers, friends, and students I was supposed to impress. You're like, oh, what's going to happen next?
They're on the edge of their seats listening.
Right. It's an Ira Glass trick to just keep saying the action. This happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. then you
Yeah.
back out and kind of like, here's a thought about it. So
Yeah, this is amazing. Wow, I love this. And it is so powerful. I mean, developing your public speaking skills over time, I want to talk a little bit, I don't know where we're at time-wise. I forgot to turn my timer on. I'm so bad at that. I always do that on interviews. I'm on the edge of my
I'm
seat.
so
Like,
excited.
tell me more, tell me more. I want to hear a little bit about speakership is leadership. Well, tell me what that means to you.
So what I see is whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not, when we speak, we are leading people. Even if I go out and stand on stage and shuffle my feet and my shoulders are sagged and I don't know what I'm going to say and I'm embarrassed and I break up all my words, I'm leading the audience to a place. That is not a comfortable place. And that might not have the intention and outcome that I wanted, but I am leading them there. You can feel that, you can imagine that. And likewise, even in my conversations with colleagues and contacts, where am I leading them there? Am I apologizing for myself and making myself look smaller with those words? Do I, even in those like casual or networking conversations, do I have a clear vision about how I can bring value to somebody's life? Do I have a clear vision, keeping in my mind, of what I am building in the world and how this person may or may not want to be a part of it, but giving them the chance to do so. So yeah, that's why speakership is leadership.
I love that. Something you said, will you talk a little bit about, first I want to say I totally agree. No matter what group you're in, where are you leading people through your words? And then something that I want to highlight for listeners is that you want to be clear about who you're leading. So who is it you're trying to target? You've said this multiple times throughout. It's like knowing who you're connecting to means you can lead them more effectively because you know who it is you're leading.
Right.
And so it's just this, it creates this, an ability to connect more deeply when you know where you want to lead them and what the people are that you want to connect to. So
right.
that's
and letting it be okay. Letting it be okay if there's people who don't or aren't ready yet for what you're offering, that's fine. I know what my tribe looks like. I know what my community feels like, and if that's all right, if this scares you, it's okay. I'm giving you the opportunity.
Yeah, and you're going to resonate and connect with the people who are on the path with you.
Exactly.
You said apologizing for yourself in speaking. I see this a lot. So can you give us an example of what that looks like?
Yeah. So apologizing for your speak. I was actually thinking of like just in a networking conversation, but I know that. Yeah. Well, actually, what comes up for me personally, the one that I always catch myself on. Oh my gosh, Amanda, I swear I rewrite about 75% of my emails. Like I do the first draft, like here's what I need to say. And then I read back, I'm like, okay, that's passive, that's passive, that's passive, and then it's shorter, tighter, more direct. And so all the time, that's the one where I catch myself. And I think when I'm physically talking to people, I feel that connection. I feel that excitement of where I want to lead them. So for me personally, that's not my Achilles heel, but I know for me, even when I'm emailing, that's you're speaking, you're leading. Where are you leading people to? How direct and confident and strong can you make that?
I love this. Everything you're saying resonates so deeply. And I am thinking about how speaking is, first it comes in your mind and then you write it down and then you speak it out, right? And so it's all of those steps and stages. So in writing an email, passive voice would look, I just want to give people an example. If they aren't sure what we're talking about, it'd be justifying, apologetically saying something like, I'm just checking in.
Right. Right. That's the word, like, oh, I just want to, and if you think, and that's the other one is I think I could work this out, or I think, like, no, either like I believe, or I see, or I know, or this is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful. It completely changes your feeling of your sense of personal power when you're directing your communication to someone else.
Yes.
So I love that. And then you were talking about, well, and that has to do with clarity in your message, you know, like the clarity and articulation and being direct and being, you know, to me, the opposite of apologetic kind of conversations or speaking would be like, I'm totally clear with what I have. I own it. I live it. I love it. I share it. Like
exactly. And that was in my in-person groups this last Monday, we were talking about leadership communications. And the topic we focused on is in these words, having hard boundaries, but with soft emotions. Like, this is what I can do. This had actually come up like 4 times to me this week with different people, colleagues, clients, family members, where this was the answer. And there's something, maybe possibly with females in particular, we want to make sure, oh, we're still connected. I still like you. So if you really need me to do that, if you really, really need me to work on Saturday, then I will, but I kind of can't. And instead of saying, oh, wow, I really can't do that for you next Saturday. I so appreciate what you're doing. This is great work. I'm sure I can, this is what I can do. I could work Tuesday or Wednesday, and having that firm boundary that's, as Brene Brown says, strong spine, but open heart. This is where I am. And I'm, and not apologizing for the boundaries we need to hold.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny, I was on a client meeting yesterday, and I said, it's okay to say no with no justification.
Right.
Sometimes we really struggle with that. And I do think you're right. It's often a gendered phenomenon where, women and girls are more socialized to be pleasers and be friendly and be kind. And so it's a little more work that women end up doing if they want to step into that power leadership role. They've got to remind themselves, like, I don't have to please. That's not my job. I'm a powerful person and I can use strong, powerful language.
Exactly.
It's fascinating to get to watch people step into their power in that way.
Yeah.
I want to ask from you, what would you say are the top 3 max potential habits for speakers?
Oh, that's great. I would say for the speakers, and we've said some of them before, so I'm going to repeat them because they're so important, but I've got a new idea as well. And first of all, like we said, visualize what you want the end to be. What do you want what's the end state of your audience?
Okay.
2 is prepare. Any speaker that you see that is full of ease and grace and comfort, it is because they prepared. Either that talk in particular they gave dozens of times, or they have been speaking for decades and they have that comfort with it. And the 3rd, I would say, is to respect and honor where you need to pause.
Ooh, tell us a little more about that.
So pauses are your friend. As a speaker, time and awareness are moving very differently for you than for the audience. And so when people have a moment of they can't remember their words, or their emotions are gotten ahead of them a little bit, when a speaker pauses, it's going to feel like a really, really long time. It does not feel like a really, really long time to the audience. Letting yourself take that breath, letting yourself reconnect to yourself, letting yourself connect to your audience. It feels natural. It feels present. The audience rarely feels, I've only, in this many years and this many performances, I've only known of one speaker where people were, it was a little bit much for the pauses, but because they were like seriously 30 seconds long. So maybe not 30 seconds, but
But you're right. I think when people get nervous, they tend to talk too fast.
Yes.
And so, if public speaking is such a big fear for people, they just go, 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 go. And it makes sense. But I love, I don't know, even when you said it, in my body just relaxed. There's something about like respecting, you said respect and honor where you need to pause. It's such a good metaphor for life in general.
Exactly, right?
But it's like, yeah, in public speaking, it is, you're right. If you watch those really powerful speakers, it's a dance, and they're taking you on a journey, and they are pausing. I hadn't thought of it that way before, but that's so valuable. Thank you so much. This has been incredible. And I'm certain that people are going to want to connect with you. So let us know where is the best place to find you, or the best.
Great. So my website is masterspeakerlab.com. And we also have a Facebook page, Master Speaker Lab page. And from there, if you want more great content, including my 4 steps to write your personal killer signature talk, that is at my website as well.
Awesome. That's great. And for everyone listening, it will be in the show notes. It has been pure joy to have you here. Thank you. I took 2 pages of notes.
Awesome.
Really incredible. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
I'm definitely going to have you back when you have the neuroscience
Yes.
stuff going on. So everyone check that out on her website. And if you are preparing for a big talk, Margaret is your woman. And I realized I never even said your full name. This is Margaret Watts Romney.
I didn't realize that either.
I know, I didn't
be in the show notes.
It's so funny because I know you. I just kind of forgot that whole important part.
That's great. I didn't notice either. That's hilarious. It's been such a joy. I love the work you're doing, Amanda. Well done. Thank you for a great interview.
Thank you. It's been lovely having you here. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. I'm certain that you received tons of good tips today. I will be back next week. And until then, I hope you thrive and feel alive.